Hello everyone, welcome back to Tech Trends. This is the third episode of Power Platform series. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with all our latest content. Today, we are diving into the powerful world of Microsoft Dataverse. In this video, we are going to explore how to create relationships, business rules, calculated and roll-up columns in Dataverse. Whether you are a beginner or looking to enhance your data management skills, this tutorial has got you covered. Thank you. So let's start with our content. Okay, let's start with the table relationships. I'm going to give you an overview about table relationships, and after that I'm going to demonstrate how can we create table relationships in Power Platform Dataverse. Okay, so let's start. Table relationships define the different ways table records can be associated with records from other tables or the same table. So table relationships are metadata, we can say that. So they let queries retrieve related data very efficiently. Use table relationships to define the formal relationships which define the table or that most records can use. When you look at the solution explorer, you might think that there are three types of table relationships, but actually there are only two: one-to-many relationships and many-to-many relationships. In a one-to-many relationship, many related table records are associated within a single primary table record in a parent or child relationship. So many to many relationships, like many table records are associated with many other table records. Okay, so records that are related through end-to-end table relationships are considered peers. The N-to-one or many-to-one relationship type exists in the user interface because the designer shows you a view grouped by tables. So one-to-one relationships actually exist between tables and refer to each table as either a primary or current table or related table. So the related table, sometimes called child table, has a lookup column which allows storing a reference to a record from the primary table, sometimes called the parent table. A n-to-one relationships is just a one-to-n relationship viewed from the related table. So one-to-many relationships are the most common type of relationships found in Dataverse for apps. So for example, one venue can hold multiple events, or one company can have multiple employees. So each one-to-many relationships has some of the characteristics like one record of a primary table, then 0, 1 or many records of a related table. Related table has a lookup column to store unique identifier of a primary table. N-to-one is not a separate type, it is a one-to-n relationship viewed from the other side. That's the only thing, because both type of relationships are same. So some tables do not make sense on their own, and they are typically created to support other tables and processes. They will typically have a required lookup column to link to the primary table they support. So for example, like a business requirement could be that project record should not exist without a related account. So in this case, project will have an n-to-one relationship with the account, and the account lookup column will be set to required. So what should happen when a primary record is deleted? You can use the relationship behavior to define this according to the rules for your business. So there are two options. One is prevent deleting the primary table so that the related table records can be reconciled, perhaps by associating them with a different primary table. Second is allow the related tables to be deleted automatically with the deletion of the primary table record. So if the related table doesn't support a primary table, that is lookup column is not set to required, you can allow the primary table to be deleted and the value of the lookup will be cleared. So one to n or one to many table relationships establish a hierarchy between records. With n to many or n to n or many to many relationships, there is no explicit hierarchy. There are no lookup columns or behaviors to configure. Records created using end-to-end relationships can be considered peers, and the relationship is reciprocal. For example, for the company's accounts, you may want to record information about the board members, okay, so that we can say contacts. So one company may have many board members, while each contact can be on the boards of multiple companies. So with end-to-end relationships, a special hidden table is created called a relationship table or intersect table. So this table has an end-to-one relationship with each of the related tables and only stores the necessary values to define the relationship. You can't add custom columns to a relationship, and the primary use of the intersect table is to link records for the reporting purposes. So in the app, the operations of adding or removing records from the relationship are called associate and disassociate respectively. Now, the next is like a hierarchical relationships. Some standard tables in common data model already have hierarchies defined. So other tables, including custom tables, can be enabled for a hierarchy, and you can create the visualization for them. The option to define a hierarchical relationship is only available for self-referential relationships. A self-referential relationship is a one-to-one relationship between a table and itself, where the same table is defined as both a primary and a related table. Okay, so if you have any doubts or any session or any particular part of this relationships or section, it's not clear, please comment below. Or if you have any doubts, you can also comment that in the comment section. Okay, so next I'm going to demonstrate how we can create table relationships. Okay, let's get started. So in this exercise, so I'm going to demonstrate how to create two tables and relate them by using a one-to-many relationship. Okay, so I'm going to select, I have already logged into my Power Apps portal and selected the environment which where I'm going to create the tables. Now selecting the tables option from the right menu. As it get loaded, we can go for creating new table by clicking on plus new table, and here in the drop down list you can see three different options. One is for create new tables, second is for table advanced properties, and create third is for create a virtual table. I'm firstly going for creating a table with advanced properties, so click on table advanced properties, and here the display name, I'm going to provide the name as cruises. Then here, expand the advanced option. You can see the schema name. This is we can use in any kind of programming language where you are going to use this table as a backend in your any front-end application. Then this is okay. The type of tables you can see you can create by using this property or this option. So here standard, activity, virtual, or elastic. So you can see you can select any of these option according to your requirements. So I'm selecting standard. Then record ownership, this is also again if this the table activities can be controlled by user or team or the entire organization, so that is depends on again the requirements. I'm here just selecting user or team, and I'm not going to use any table image, so that so the rest of the things you can keep it as default. Okay, you don't need to change anything. Now going to primary column, so I'm selecting the enter the primary column ID as cruise ID, and here also you can see schema name and column requirement. Yeah, primary column, you know, it should not be null, and data should be data should be there, and the data should be unique. Okay, so business required by default, it should be added. and then maximum character count 850. Now you can click on save. So now my table is getting provisioned. It will take a little bit time to complete the process. After that, we can go for creating columns. Yeah, it is getting provisioned. Okay, it's created. The cruise ID as primary column. It is listed here, and you can see the primary column cruise ID is there in the table properties tab. Now I'm going to add another columns. So the column name is cruise date. Here, plus button, you can click on adding new column to the table. So here, cruise date, and this is a date time, date only behavior column, format column. Okay, and behavior is simple and it is searchable, and here also you can see these are the default values selected for each options. You don't need to change anything over here. Okay, just keep as it is rest of the things. Now click on save to save this column to the table named cruises. Okay, so now my column is created. Now I'm going to create another table, another column called, it is a choices column I'm going to create. Okay, so here the name I'm going to provide as board name, and this is a choice column. So here created selected choice, then sync with the global choice. I want to give my own labels here, so the choices. So I'm giving custom choices here by clicking on no. So night skipper, then sunshine and holiday. Then default choice, I'm not going to select any default choices here and click on the advanced option. Yeah, the same. Okay, we can keep as it is. Then click on save. So one choice column is going to be added, and I'm going to add another two columns named destination and captain. These all are choices columns. So destination, this is also not sync with the global choice, and I can provide my own choices for destination. Okay, and here also for the default choice, I'm not going to select anything. Keep as it is and just click on save to add this table to the column. Add this column to the table. Now I'm going to create another column named captain, and this is also another choice column. And here, click on no. And the choices I'm going to enter. Click on save to add this column to the table. Now I'm going to add the primary column key to the schema. So for that, so here my 5 columns are ready. Now click on the schema, click on the keys from the schema tail, and here click on plus new key. You can enter the name of the key there. So it is a cruise ID we have selected for the primary key. So I'm entering the cruise ID key name, cruise ID key, and selected the cruise ID column. Then click on select, save. You can see now, just to go to the columns. Okay, so there you can see primary name column. So now you have made the parent table of this application. Okay, so here just to click on the columns, you can see this is the cross ID primary name. Now I'm going to create a child table named passengers. So each cruise will have many passengers. So the cruise table became the parent table, and the passenger table is the child table. Selecting the same property, table advanced properties, and here passenger and advanced options. This is a standard table and user or team. I'm not going to change anything, so keep as it is. And then click on the primary column. Here my primary column is passenger ID. The advanced option, you can see by default business required is selected. Then click on save. Okay, so it is showing some error on the. And check that. So here passengers, and just save now. Okay, my table is provisioned now. So I'm going to create columns for this table. So firstly I'm going to make the passenger ID column an auto number. So okay, so automatically we don't need to enter anything there, so automatically it will provide the number. So and here it is the type. Okay, is it a string prefixed, okay, or custom, okay, so or like number, so date prefixed. So I'm just providing custom, and here sequential number 6. Okay, and the seed value I'm providing here as 1, and click on save. Now I'm going to add 3 columns. One is cruise ID. Cruise ID, it is a primary column of the first table named cruises. So here I'm going to add cruise ID as lookup column. It will looking up the related table named cruises. Okay, so we should have to select cruises from this related table, and in the advanced option, no, we're not going to change anything, so just click on save. Now for the passenger name, another column is for passenger name, so this is I'm going to hide. Passenger name is a single line of text and it's a text format, and click on save. Now another one is type of ID. So type of ID, it's a choice we can provide. Choice column, and for the global choice no. Then here for the choices, making as driving license, passport, student ID or other. Okay, and here also there is no default choice. Click on save. Now after adding this, okay, now here this passenger ID, you just green select column. So here it is not showing. So here passenger ID is primary name column, it is showing. So just to provide this column and as the key. So here there is no key. So I'm just providing this column as new key to the passenger table, passenger ID key, and passenger ID selected. Okay, so it is getting provision. Yeah, it's completed. Now we can test by selecting the columns. Okay, if there is any relationships, or by selecting the relationships also you can just click on relationships. You can see over here cruise ID is showing many to one relationship, because passengers having multiple means it is related with cruisers table. Okay, as many of the passengers, right? So it is many to one. So one cruise is having multiple passengers, so it's related to that. So cruise ID many to one. Now going back to tables, and here select the cruises table and select relationships. You can see the cruise ID one to many relationship, here it is showing. Okay, so this way we can configure, or we can establish relationships between tables. So we have successfully established a many to one relationship or one to many relationship. Okay, which you can look at these two tables. If you have any doubts on this, please let me know in the comments below. Now our next topic is business rule. So how to create a business rule? So in this exercise, we are going to use the passengers table, which we have created in the previous exercise. Okay, and here by using business rule designer, we are going to create a business rule. Okay, so let's get started directly into the practical. So here I have the two tables now. So one is cruises and another one is passengers table. So I'm taking the passengers table first and going to create a new column named age, and this is a whole number column. This is one way you can create. Another way is I have shown already to you, like from here. Okay, it will come now. It is taking a little time to load. Yeah, it is loaded already. Now here it is. Okay, just click on the plus button. Also, you can add a new column. Okay, there are two three ways. Okay, we can add columns into the table. So now I'm going to create a column named age, and this is a whole number. Okay, and there is no format for this. I'm not going to add anything, and just I'm selecting this. Okay, keep as it is the default options and everything to add this table to this column to the table passengers. Now another column ID required, and this is a choice column I'm going to add. Okay, choices, and this is yes or no choices I have added. And here also I'm not going to do any other changes. Okay, so labels you can see no or yes. By default no is selected, and just click on save as it is. Okay, so two more columns I have added here. Okay, one is age and the second is ID required. Now I'm going to apply some business rules over this. Okay, so this is based on age. Okay, whether ID is required or not. Okay, I'm providing some conditions there in the business rules. So click on business rule, and here plus new business rule. It will redirect to a new window of business rule designer, so where we can create or we can provide new business rules to the columns. Okay, please wait for getting it loaded. Sometimes it will take a little bit time. Be patient for that. Okay, so now the window is opened. Here we are going to, in the main design area, we are going to select the condition. So this selection opens a panel to let you set the conditions for the business rule. Okay, so this is the one, and here you can see properties tab and the components tab. Okay, two tabs available, and now we are going to add some of the information into the fields on the conditional panel. Okay, so for that, coming into the properties tab and entity, we are keeping as passengers. You can see there entity, it is already passengers. Display name, if you want to change you can change, otherwise also no problem. New condition as it is. Okay, then source, it will become entity. Okay, that is there, and field age, it is already selected, and operator we are selecting as is greater than, and value providing as 18. So type value, it is already there. Okay, and value providing it as 18. And then we can select it as, okay, so here just click on apply button. So you can see a preview on business rule. If age greater than 18, then what is going to happen? Okay, so here also you can see that text. Okay, So now you will define the action for the yes or no branch. So meaning that you will indicate what you want to happen if the age of the person who is entered 18 or under or over 18. Okay, so select now the components tab. Okay, and we are going to add set field value action and drag it to the set field value and drag it to the next of the condition, new condition, and here it is a new action. The display name you can see, you can change the display name if you want. Okay, so here I'm going to change it as passenger over age 18 and entity it is passengers, and field value I'm going to select status reason here, ID required. Okay, and the value, okay, the value provided, and the value is age greater than 18, then ID required, yes, right. Okay, and then we have to click on apply. So now you can see set field value passenger over age 8. Okay, it will become yes, ID required is yes. Then another field value action I'm going to add under the condition components set field value. So here I'm going to add, okay, and this is passenger age 18 or under 18. Okay, and entity is passengers, and here also ID required and value just no. Okay, so for this the ID required became no, and you can just apply on it, and you can see the business rule text view. If age greater than 18, then set ID required to yes, else set ID required to no. Now we can go for validate this and save. So firstly validate, click on validate. So validation successful, and after that you can select save. So it is processing, the save processing. Okay, you can see here passengers new business rule. Here business rule name you can provide as ID required. So I'm just providing it as ID required. Then description if you want to give you can give, otherwise no problem. It is not mandatory. Then after you entered the name of your business role, click on save. Back to the table passengers and selecting the business role. Okay, here click on done. Please wait for the business rule gets provisioned. Yeah, it is. Status is off and ID required. The name has been showing here. So we should have to again click on this business rule. Okay, and here you can see activate. Just click on the activate button to activate it because it was showing off, right? It is asking for activate again. Click on activate. Okay, now it is activated. You can see over here. Click on done. Now the status of this ID required business rule is on. Okay. Now going to the tables, passengers. Okay, you just click on edit for entering the table data. So here passenger ID we don't need to provide anything, and cruise ID also it is nothing here. So firstly we should have to provide some cruise data and then coming back to add some passengers data. Go to cruises table and here we should enter some data. Let's click on edit. Okay, so a cruise ID I'm providing one and cruise date. Board name and providing this and the destination. Okay, so data is saved. Now going back and tables, select the passengers. Okay, and click on edit to add the data. Cruise ID, I'm selecting one and passenger name. Type of ID, passport, and age. If I'm entering 8, then the age 18 I have entered. Just click on refresh. Okay, now I'm going to enter another data, okay, which is, and here the type of ID is food, and here providing 19. So what is going to happen? So it is yes. Okay, ID is required. So you can see the difference. So when I have entered the age 18, the ID required became no. And when I entered age above 18, the ID required became yes by default. Okay, so you can check by using business rule how we can business rule designer how we can incorporate a business rule in our table, Dataverse table. So we have successfully completed this exercise as well, so you can test it. Thank you for listening. So if you have any doubts or anything, so please let me know in the below comments. I have added some data in cruise table, and in passengers table I'm just showing okay how the business rule is which we have implemented, how it is going to work. Okay, now in the passengers table I'm adding data. Okay, so here it is. Now one more data you can see there, the 18 when I have added and ID required is no, which is selected. So this is the one which we have entered in the business rule. Now one more data I'm adding and selecting type of ID is driving license, and here selecting 19. Okay, and you can see here the data ID required became yes. So above 18, the age above 18 ID required became yes, and age equal to or under 18 the ID required became no. One more row we can add, that is 15 years, and here you can see so it is under 18 the ID required became no. Okay, so we have successfully implemented the business rule also into our Dataverse table. So if you have any queries or if you need any further explanations of any topic, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Our next topic is about calculated tables and rollup columns. Sorry, calculated columns and rollup columns. Okay, so please stay tuned for that. Okay, now we are next talking about calculated and rollup columns. Rollup columns perform aggregate calculations on values which are stored in a column in a related table across a one-to-many relationship. Rollup columns can calculate sum, count, minimum, maximum, and average values in a fashion which is similar to how these same functions are used in Microsoft Excel. So roll-up columns are read-only and can calculate values based on a system account with full access to all rows in a related table. Okay, so they might calculate values based on rows that a current user can't access due to security settings which prevent the user from access. Next, how to create a roll-up column. So the creating a roller column is a very simple process, but you should consider some points before you begin with the roller columns. So you must create a support column type in a table and then define the roll-up that you want to calculate. So some of the column types which supports the roll-ups are whole number, decimal number, currency, and date and time. So the there are some considerations also you should have to follow before you are creating rollups. When you specify the column and select a supported column type, you can define the rollup column calculation. Rollups calculate a value from a column in one or many child rows in a related table. You are limited to a maximum of 10 rollups for each parent table, and also rollup columns are read-only. And because rollup column persist in the database, they can be used for filtering or sorting just like regular columns. So remember that rollups are asynchronous and are calculated by Dataverse on a set schedule. So you might not see the expected value in a rollup until that job runs. Okay. So how we are going to create a rollup column. So before that, I'm going to just provide an introduction about the calculated columns as well. Okay, and then I will provide you both the practically how we can create both calculated and rollup columns. Okay. A calculated columns lets you define a calculation formula which is run by Microsoft Dataverse regardless of the form which is used to edit or add data. You can use calculated column to automate otherwise manual calculations. Calculations allow you to improve data integrity and simplify form development. Unlike asynchronous rollups, calculate based on a scheduled job. Calculations run in real time when the row is saved. Okay, now for the calculation also we can use power effects functions as well for creating calculated columns. And there are some key considerations like calculated columns use the columns from the current table or related parent tables from a many to one relationships. Calculated columns are read-only and the expression support is available on the current table and the related parent table in the condition sections and the action sections as well. So there are some functions also which you can search on the Microsoft Learn link, so you can see that. Okay, and some of the column types which is supported calculation, single line of text, choice, yes or no, whole number, decimal number, currency, date and time. And you can configure calculator columns to use custom controls as well. Okay, so now let's get started uh, the practical session for these two columns creation. Okay, let's start with the practical session of how to create roll-up column and calculated column. Okay, so here I have already selected the choruses table. You can select the choruses table there from the tables list. In this exercise, I'm going to create a count of the total number of passengers which have booked a seat on a cruise by using roll-up column. So if you are not created the custom table as part of this path, okay, you can complete the steps by using the previous exercises, or else if you are having a one-to-many relationship tables, okay, so you can start from here. So here I'm going to create a column named passenger count by clicking on this plus, and this is a whole number and behavior is roll up. So before saving this roll up column, so you just click on this save and edit. Okay, so it will redirect to open a edit window of the roll up column. You can see now this is the roll-up field and passenger count, and here you can see the source entity is selected, source cruises, and use hierarchy node. I'm going to select the related entity, add a related entity, yeah, passengers cruise ID selected by default. Okay, so I'm just click on this tick symbol to save this. Now I'm not going to add any filters or any conditions there here, just going for the aggregation. So here this is a, so we are going to count total passengers. So we are going to use the aggregate function count and the aggregator related entity. So this is passengers of it. So then click on the tick for saving this. Now after completing the value changes and updating it, just click on save and close to save this. Now you can see over here The passenger count column is created in cruises table. So this is the way we can add a roll-up column in our Dataverse table. Now I am moving to create a calculated column. So in this exercise, I'm going to add a column called price to hold the price for a passenger on the cruise. Then I'm going to add a second column called tax and add a calculation to determine the tax to charge for each ticket. Okay, so let's get started. Firstly, select the table cruises. So it is already selected. And now I'm going to create a new column named price. And the data type of this column is currency. Click on save. Keep all the default settings as it is. Now let's add one more column named tax, which is a calculated column. Okay. This is we can select whole number or currency also, like, okay, because we have provided that column, the price column as currency. So here also no problem. You can select and behavior calculated. And you can see here there is a warning message coming up. The calculated behavior will eventually be discontinued. We can use formula. So that is the power effects. As I told you, we can use the power effects formula also directly here. So but now this session I can show, I'm showing you this as calculated behavior I have selected. Now click on save and edit. So it will again open window same as the roll-up. Okay, so this is the window opened for the calculated field, and here you can see set tags and if then condition control and actions has been listed. So what we are going to do is, firstly, under the action we are going to click on add new action, and here we are going to select price. So here this is the price column, so you can see the schema name of the price column is listed, and you can select that, and then you can provide the calculation. Okay, asterisk symbol we are using for multiplication operator, and the rate we are using here as 0.085. Okay, so here put an asterisk symbol and 0.085. So this is the rate we are going to use to calculate the tax. And then we have to select the check mark to save this calculation for that column, and then we can save and close. Okay, so we have created the calculated column now. Okay, let's get tested. So just go back to the cruises table. So I have already opened this passengers table only, so I'm just go back to the cruises table, and now click on edit to add some data here. So we are going to check the calculated column first, because roll up column will take some time to roll up all that data to this column. So here I'm going to enter another cruise ID and providing date, So here I'm not going to enter anything, and the price only, so because these two are read only columns, and here the price I'm entering 40,000. Okay, it will take little bit time to show the tags over here. Okay, please wait for some time. Okay, you can see now here 40,000 we have entered, and the tags it is showing over here. Okay, so and the roll up we have entered for passenger counter, still it is okay, currently it is running. Okay, we cannot do anything because it will take some time to. Okay, so you can test it after some time, it will show this here. Okay, so thank you for watching. And if you have, so we have completed successfully with creating relationships between the tables, then creating business rules, and creating roll-up columns and calculated columns. So these are the items which we have completed today in this session. If you have any doubts or any session you want more clarifications, please comment below. And if you want to uh, like this, so if you want to share this, you can share this with this along with your friends or colleagues as well. Thank you for watching.